This is the Nottingham Castle Grounds. So I'm standing on top of this amazing castle grounds, and you can see across practically everywhere in Nottingham City. So that's how amazing this castle grounds has been. So it's very close to the market. It's called the Old Market Square. So when you arrive in Nottingham, depending on how you go into Nottingham, you could be coming by train, so you come out of the train station, and it's very easy to access the castle grounds from there. Or say you are in the Market Square, Old Market Square, which is a very popular location in Nottingham. Again, it's all signposted, showing you how to access the castle grounds. So let's look at these castle grounds that I'm actually standing on top of. So this is where the castle has been. This is what is on grounds today, this building you're looking at. So a little bit of history about the castle grounds. It is a high rock with massive walls around it. Further down this video, you probably see clips where I showed you the castle rocks itself that actually creates this high rock that has become the castle grounds. But at the moment, you're looking at what's actually on the castle grounds, being this amazing building you're looking at. This grounds has seen endless kings of England come and go, and the story actually starts from King William the Conqueror. This was in 1066, after he just won the Battle of Hastings. And then in medieval England, he had to solidify his strength to show his enemies that he was the king. And what he did was he went around the country finding places, amazing places that he could build his castles on. And when he got to Nottingham, he found this amazing place in this place we call the Castle Grounds, which was just provided for him by nature. Because apparently in history they could build a mold being a high rise of grounds so that the castle sits on top of it. And then it gives them the, preference of being able to view the whole city, or be in a really high position where they could see anything coming around there. So for him in Nottingham, he didn't have any problem on that at all, because this castle grounds was provided by nature. So when you do go visit Nottingham Castle, which I will recommend you go based on how amazing the history of this place is, you're going to find that he didn't have any problem finding the very amazing things he could do with his land. And so that's when he built this edifice of a castle on top of these castle grounds. So, like I said, endless kings have lived in this castle or in these grounds, and some of the names you could look back on will include King John I, King Henry II, King Richard the Lionheart, King Edward I, II, and III. And one of the biggest history about this place is a man called Mortimer and a queen called Queen Isabella. Now, Queen Isabella was the wife to Edward II, which was Isabella was from France, and the story about Edward II if you read into his history, he wasn't that great a husband to Queen Isabella. And so she ended up having this Mortimer man as a lover, and they plotted to kill the king, Edward II. And so when you do visit, I also recommend you go for the cave tour, because part of the big excitement about Nottingham Castle is the cave tour. And the cave tour holds the history of how Mortimer was taken through the caves to London, where he finally met his death. But the history is very deep in the sense of after Queen Isabella left England and went back to... Now, this is part of the cave you're seeing in this clip. So she went back to France and then gathered troops and came back to England and then defeated her husband eventually. Now, this is inside the cave, the clip you're seeing, where lots of tours are carried on to go and experience or see the cave that Mortimer went through. So anyway, they came back. Mortimer and Isabella came back and had this fight with the king, King Edward II, and eventually he was killed. Details will be told to you when you go on the cave tour. And Mortimer then told young Edward III that he will hold forth his throne for him until he became an adult, because at this stage he was only 14. And eventually Mortimer wouldn't hand over the throne back to the young king, and he was then defeated by the young king when he was about 17, and taken through this cave that you're seeing now to London and eventually executed. So that's part of the story that actually did happen in this castle. In addition to all the other stories you hear the history of Nottingham and how rebellious they've always been. Then, of course, I'm sure most people know about the Robin Hood story, but not much of Robin Hood is discussed on this cave tour. But you see a gallery specifically put together for Robin Hood. Now, from the history of it being a castle, eventually he ended up in the hands of a duke, and this was the Duke of Newcastle. And then stories carry on. Eventually that was demolished, and now it is a museum. So that's how come you can go visit. You buy a ticket, you go, and then there's so much to see in this place. But it is one of those places that really has so much history. So now this is me looking outside and showing you, taking videos from outside for you to see. So part of the unique thing about this place, where you just saw earlier, was King Charles I came here and declared war on England when they had the English Civil War. But of course, the history is there to be told for another time. So come have a look and enjoy yourself when you do this visit.